for 18 minutes. The average
It's a Gundam.
fan listens for, are you ready for this? An hour and 20 minutes.
How can that be?
Answer most commonly given, I want to see what he'll say next.
All right, okay, fine. But what about the people who hate?
Gundam.
Good point. The average
Gundam.
hater listens for 2.5 hours a day.
Look, but if they hate him, why do they listen?
Most common answer, I want to see what he'll say next.
Pixel sent this to me. It's a few days old. Kind of funny, did an interview with Pete Hines from Bethesda, where he talks about what they're up to, yada yada. It's nothing really that interesting, because in all honesty, the only thing people are interested in right now is... what the hell are they interested in? Doom Eternal. But that's about it. I mean, let's face it, I'm definitely not interested in the next Fallout or Elder Scrolls, because I know what's going to happen. Bethesda's going to release some buggy-ass game, because that's all they do now, and we're supposed to sit there and go, thank you very much for this piece of crap. I mean, Bethesda has been dropping the ball since Fallout 4. If you've been watching my channel long enough, you know I've been screaming since then. This isn't new. I'm saying they dropped the ball at Fallout 4 in the sense of Fallout 4 was just so much below the minimum that I was willing to take from Bethesda. I can stomach a lot of that cry. What is that engine called again? Game Bros. I don't even remember anymore. I can stomach that trash-ass engine putting out a game long as the story is good, or at least interesting. Fallout 4 wasn't even an RPG. It was an action shooter, fake wannabe role-playing game. I'm going to try not to go into a rant already. We have cool friends. If that's not the gayest shit I've ever seen. Like, for real. And I watch RuPaul's Drag Race. That's saying something.
Most of you watching are gonna go, the f is that? That's what you deserve. This is who I am. Attack!
What's up, everybody? Welcome to We Have Cool Friends, the cool show where we interview our cool friends about the cool things they're doing. I'm Greg, and this is my cool friend, Pete Hines.
I'm not going to play around because this is like an hour and 19 minutes.
Doom Eternal, March 20th, 2020. Fallout 76 Wastelanders update, April 7th, 2020. And then I have on here, of course, Ghostwire Tokyo, Deathloop, Orion, your streaming platform, or your streaming technology you're working on.
More ESO stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, there's more ESO
Did
stuff.
you say?
And maybe that's the problem with Bethesda. Putting out trash almost yearly. Quality versus quantity is something I think Bethesda really needs to learn. I give Rockstar a lot of trash, but at least with Red Dead Redemption 2, which I feel isn't that amazing as far as gameplay goes, but it's a good enough story and atmospheric enough that I'm still playing the game and I don't hate it. I'm not disgusted by it like I was with Fallout 4. The only thing that gave Fallout 4 life was the fact that there was a rich modding community on the Nexus. If it was not for the PC modding community, Bethesda wouldn't be as big as it is. As much as people talk about Skyrim, let's face it, everybody remembers Skyrim mods. Skyrim modding was so big, even GameSpot had a show dedicated to it. Then their two hosts got these big brain ideas. They quit to do their own thing on YouTube, and they've disappeared into the ether. Also, Bethesda is launching a streaming service called Orion. Talk about bad moves. Like, literally. Maybe Bethesda needs to hire me as a consultant, because they could call me Go Gundam. I'm not going to try and do a Pete Hines voice or Todd Howard, I feel sick. They go, Gundam, we want to launch a streaming service. I'd go, no. Throw that idea out the damn window. There's enough streaming services. Google Stadia, it's not doing well. Nvidia GeForce Now, it's losing publishers every 5 minutes. Why in God's green earth would anyone pay you for bugs? Get out of here. Call me when you have a good idea. I would make a great boss. I'd pick up a chair and throw it at that motherfucker. Get out! What do you mean a streaming service? You couldn't even launch the Fallout games and give people back their goddamn canvas bags without leaking all their information to other people, you fools! Bethesda is such a joke, dude. A streaming service from Bethesda? Why don't I just go to the dark web myself and leak my information on my own? Hey, let it go. Got to move on. Pixel, this is your fault. I should remove you from mod at the Discord.
Deathloop?
I did. I put Deathloop
And
in there.
Ghostwire, yeah.
Yeah. And then
And then all the stuff you don't know about.
Of course, yeah. But this again, you're gonna reveal it right here, right? You know what I mean? Tell me more. I mean, that's the thing. Like, cause you know,
Let me stop and just say how sad Kind of Funny is. Literally, it's funded and it's got some big names in journalism back in the day behind it. And now they pump out videos and whatnot, and they barely get 20K views. The only reason why the Pete Hines interview got 21K is because so many other channels covered it, because it was such a fluff piece. Like, Jesus Christ. When are we going to get some gaming journalists that actually care about gaming and don't just sit there and, like, fluff things? Like, for real, if I was interviewing Pete and he said some of the stuff he said to me, it probably would have ended in a fist fight. He probably would have jumped over that table and tried to kill me. It's like, Gundam! Uh-oh, Pete recognizes my Twitter handle.
how much people love Elder Scrolls, how much Sky, you know what I mean? They're buying merch, they're doing these different things. And then I would say, not that that's gone away, but it's been challenged, right? Like, I remember when Fallout 76 happened and everything was going wrong, it seemed, and every day there was something else in the news.
Sure
that
felt
was
like it.
oh, God. Like, did you understand in those moments? Like, did the team get in those moments of, like, we just got to persevere, we got to get through this?
Yeah. I mean, it was a lot of it. It was a lot of, take a deep breath, like, okay, what do we need to do?
Didn't, like, Fallout 76 get outsourced to a smaller team to turn it into an online game? And let's face it, Fallout 76 was literally Fallout 4 online. Don't try and play like this was some big, ambitious thing. You guys literally took something you had and said, games as service? Fortnite is making money off of their fans. Why can't we make even more? We're not selling enough Funko Pops. Todd Howard's platform shoes aren't big enough. We need more money.
And I think it was definitely a reminder that anytime you try and do something pretty different, like, we knew that there was risk with that, right?
Sure,
Like, we weren't just doing the safe and narrow, like, let's just churn out single player Fallout Elder Scrolls games every year or every other year, or do these things, right? We tried something that was a pretty big change of direction for that studio, and just because it didn't go well doesn't mean you shouldn't do that. It just means you need to learn the lessons from when you did it, what didn't work well, so that the next time you try something really different, hopefully you avoid some of those problems and issues.
Now, the funny thing is, I don't understand. What was not the safe and narrow? You literally just took Fallout 4 and turned it into an online game. And you can't say that it isn't Fallout 4 when people have literally put in console commands to put the Pridwin from Fallout 4 into Fallout 76 because the assets were already there. It wasn't like you created something new from the ground up. For real, dude, you guys literally were just trying to cash in even more on Fallout. Be real. That's all you gotta do is be real. At least some thoughts on Twitch are real enough to admit they're doing this for money. You are too. Be real, dude. This wasn't any major departure. You guys literally saw how well Fortnite was doing, and all the major developers wanted a piece of that action. Like, remember, didn't they release a Battle Royale mode for this game? They did. Do you hear about it anymore? No, because you don't care. Bethesda literally wanted a games as service game, just like EA wanted a games as service game. That's why we had Anthem. That's why we have Fallout 76. You guys wanted the community to come in, support the game, and buy stupid-ass cosmetics at exorbitant prices. And the least you could have done was at least gave the world life. It was literally a more barren Fallout 4. How do you release something worse than the last piece of shit you dropped? And this is coming from a fan, dude. Like, my God, they acted like instead of doing a Fallout game, they did like a mecha RTS game. And it's the same shit, dude. You think we're stupid? You probably do.
Sure. Do you guys feel like you've learned that? Is that what Wastelanders is?
Certainly, to some extent. I mean, it's a lot of our belief was always, well, we're going to put this thing out and then see what folks like and don't like, and what they want more of and what they want less of. And Wastelanders is definitely a response to that. I mean,
you guys put this out and knew it wasn't any good, which obviously they knew. They knew the thing was broken, all the hell. They remember when it was coming out and they said there's going to be a lot of problems with the game. Remember that tweet? But bear with us and blah, blah, blah. And I was sitting there and I made the analogy of, like, would you buy a car under these circumstances? And the answer is no. Ford was like, oh, the new Focus is going to have a couple problems. The drivetrain might snap. There's going to be some hiccups. Some of you might not have a good rear suspension, but bear with us. We're going to work through this. No. Like, only the gaming industry can they release half-baked products and walk and get away with it. And then you wouldn't buy a cup of, like, a quart of milk or a gallon, and then, like, on the box it says, oh, this gallon of milk might just burst open because of bad manufacturing. Sucks to suck. Lol.
There's definitely things that players have done that we didn't really think would happen. Like the fact that by and large folks just aren't all that interested in PvP.
Yeah.
With each other does PvP, but like that they really enjoy more either just interacting in some way, like going to visit each other's camps.
Sure. You put vending machines in, right?
Pete Hines just tells you Fallout fans aren't really interested in PvP. I could have told you that at the board meeting when you guys pitched it. Once again, you could have called me. Gundam. We want to do an online game of Fallout 4, but remove all the things that at least made Fallout 4 Fallout. We're also going to put in PvP. The only people interested in PvP and Fallout would be trolls, which is what happened.
This is the strongest queer I've ever met. You got another level of gay.
Oh my God, this is terrible. Could somebody please?
Which became a meme on the internet, and everyone's like, oh my God, harassment. I'm like, it's funny. I wish to God the guys who beat me up calling me a queer just did it online. I'd be happy as a pig in shit. I wouldn't have a broken rib cage. But I digress. Children today, they can't even take insults. Some of these men, if you want to call them, growing up now, if you went to school with me, you would have exploded into nothingness.
As you do get pigeonholed into, like, I'm only ever making this kind of game. I mean, I think I've mentioned this to you before, but, you don't get Horizon Zero Dawn if that team sticks to what they were known for and had always made. They pivoted and tried something that I think is substantially different than what they had made before. And it's one of my favorite games of the last 5 years. And
Goodbye. Patronizing.
How Pete Hines can equate Fallout 76 to Horizon Zero Dawn is genuinely amazing to me. Honest to God. Fallout 76 is still a Fallout game. Horizon Zero Dawn is a totally different intellectual property than, what was it, Killzone? For God's sakes, Pete? Two totally different things. Those are totally different games. We went into two different areas. FPS shooter to like an action-adventure game. On top of that, Horizon Zero Dawn didn't try to sell their fan base expensive-ass Christmas costumes. Horizon Zero Dawn didn't put out like alloy bow and arrows that if you bought one, you had to be careful because it might have mold in it and give people with allergies a real problem, Pete. You guys monetized the out of Fallout 76. The ever-loving dude. Jesus Christ. And Horizon Zero Dawn doesn't have even 10% of the bugs that Fallout 76 had. What is this, dude? And Greg Miller, since there's new community guidelines, I can't say 95% of the stuff I want to say. But Greg Miller, instead of having any level of goddamn chutzpah, sits there and goes, yeah, you're right, Pete, you're right. Grow some nuts, Greg. My God, you could have called him out on this. This is bullshit. Jesus Christ. This is journalism now. This is gaming journalism. I mean, you don't have to have my level of rage or anything, but you could have at least said to Pete, like, that's a bad take, dude. It really is. They basically took an intellectual property. You know why Fallout 76 was Fallout 76? Because Bethesda knew. If they tried to do something like this and it wasn't under the Fallout umbrella, no one would have bought it. I played the game. I played the demo. I got a copy of the game because someone thought they were funny. They sent me a copy. I still won't play it. I didn't use the key or nothing. You know why? Because I don't want to play that trash again. It is a complete bastardization of a great franchise. It is a clear sign that Bethesda is like DSP. At one time, they were on top, and now it's 2020. You can't keep doing what worked for you back in 2011 in 2020. That's why you failed. And don't even get me started on the Creation Club. You guys literally took the modding scene and tried to monetize it because you guys want to make more money. I understand that's how businesses work, but Jesus, tap dancing, Christ, man. Start getting people to pay for mods and stuff. Maybe make a game that's better. Broken down, same engine for over a decade.
I mean, you're hoping that when you try something risky and different that you end up with Horizon Zero Dawn and not with a lot of bumps and issues, but that doesn't...
Well, if you wanted to try something risky and end up with a Horizon Zero Dawn, here's a crazy take. Maybe do something new. Because that's what the creators of Killzone did. Totally different. Equating 76 to Horizon is ridiculous.
Mean you're doing it for the wrong reason.
Sure. And I have to imagine, like you're talking about, right? Like, it's double-edged in a couple of ways where on the one hand, yeah, keep making the same kind of thing, the same single-player role-playing epics, right? And everybody's happy until they're not. Until they sit there and you become Telltale, right? And it's like, it's the same thing again. It's the same engine. It's the same whatever. We're all mad about that, and now we're going to public opinion swing on that.
Right.
But also there's what you're talking about of you have creative types making creative games and wanting to, I assume, branch out and do different things.
Stretch their legs a little
Wow,
bit.
what a
So
stretch.
if you keep
Fallout
them boxed
76.
in, then what
What
happens
a
to them?
leg
They leave and go
stretch.
to a different studio, they start their own.
Sure. I mean, the same argument could be made, like, well, why bother making Starfield when you know what everybody wants is the Elder Scrolls 6? Well, it's a combination of things, not the least of which is the studio wanted to work on something else that wasn't just the two IPs that they had been developing exclusively since.
As far as Starfield goes, I hope to God you guys use different engine. That's all I got to say. Like, pay Epic for the Unreal Engine. Do something. Don't keep doing what you've been doing. It's falling apart. That's all I'm saying about that. I have no opinion on Stardew. Stardew. That's what it should be called. Star Valley. But, I don't care. One way or the other. Because at this point with Bethesda, it's just kind of like, I know what they're going to do. They're going to put out something on that tired-ass engine. It's going to be buggy as hell. And we'll get to laugh at how incompetent the company is.
Yeah.
But there's still, I still, subscribe to the subreddit, so I see all the updates. And the people who are in there who have put in thousands of hours, right, and have gotten to this point. And even when it was launched and not where people wanted it to be, the people that were doing their own role playing, right, that were walking around in groups and were giving out their own quests and sending people to do stuff, like, that shit's awesome.
Yeah.
And I hope that, like, with the Wastelanders and bringing more people in, that you get a second chance at having those kind of experiences and people coming in and seeing what that game is.
I hope so. And my belief is that the game will be all the better because we have this really dedicated large group of fans that have stuck with us through all the bumps and the issues and keep playing, that have gone beyond what the game does to add to the game themselves in a way.
The thing he's trying to drive home is that the people who are still on the game have to breathe life into that world. Like, everyone has to role play everything. You know why, Final Fantasy 14 is still successful, Bethesda? Because they don't force the players to fill every role of the damn game. So literally, a dude has to build a bar to give people little fetch quests for. So it's up to the entire player base to make your game interesting and worth playing. If you're going to go through that much hassle, why not open a real bar?
How much of games industry, podcast articles, whatever, chatter, do you pay attention to about Fallout 76 at this point? Because I feel like every conversation that comes up, it's going to talk about Anthem. It's going to talk about No Man's Sky. It's going to
Yeah.
I
mean, if it's somebody that I know actually plays the game, then yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But if it's just like, here's somebody else putting up their video because they know it gets clicks and like talking crap about 76 gets you lots of, then like I have no interest. Like,
sure.
I'm interested in hearing from.
Nicely done.
Oh my god, dude. And they all have the same fucking guns,
Shit,
dude.
yeah, it's all caps and bullets. Everybody has the same skull. Let's just find this garbage upstairs and get the hell out of here before I die.
You eat more dog food.
No, I feel like I'm dying playing this.
Doesn't tell me what the mission is. It doesn't tell me jack shit.
The last time I felt this sick playing a game is fucking Dragon Age 2. Thank God we're outside.
Oh, no, dude, I'm legitimately getting sick from this game.
Yeah.
One mouse. The head bobbing.
Should we just quit?
Is that similar to Elder Scrolls Online when it launched? Because it's been that thing, right?
No.
No?
I mean, again, Elder Scrolls Online was not rainbows and unicorns. Like
Yeah,
but it wasn't the same of going way out of my way to just put up stuff bashing this thing because everybody will click on it. Whereas with Fallout 76, it was, whether that's because it was Bethesda Game Studios or because I don't know, but it definitely had a different a different tone and vibe than with ESO.
Well, sure, yeah. I mean, it was like the easy punchline, right? You know what I mean? You don't have to reach for that yet. You know what I mean?
It has been.
Yeah. Has that changed your opinion of certain sites, YouTubers, whoever, or is that just what you always thought of?
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, it was always pretty apparent. Like, well, they're going to say whatever they think is going to get a lot of people to watch their stuff, to subscribe, to click on.
Don't hold back, don't fall short, don't stand up or show support for what's real or fair or true. You really don't care, girl, now do you?
So Pete says that people who put up Fallout 76 videos were only doing it for clicks, views, and likes and to get subscribers, and they were bashing the game just to bash the game. I've been a long time Bethesda fan, but I'm not much of one anymore. I've been calling Bethesda out for years. Fallout 76, honest to God, was a bad game. It probably should have never been released, or at least not released in the state it was released. To write off everyone's criticism on YouTube is just bashing the game for likes and views. I can understand if someone made multiple Fallout videos in the course of like weeks or months. Okay, fine. It kind of like they run into the well till the well runs dry. But I think I did mine, at least in moderation. The game was terrible. I felt like puking after playing the beta. Me and Zill stopped streaming to vomit. One, the game sucked, and two, for some reason, the first person viewing it made us like motion sick. There was so much wrong with the game. It wasn't interesting. The game really relies on you trying to make it worth playing. I'm not looking to do that. I have to make my life worth living. I don't want to go somewhere for entertainment and then have to make my entertainment worth being entertaining. To do it my damn self. Why don't I go to a restaurant, go in the kitchen, and cook my own fucking meal? Like, Jesus Christ. Take the criticism. As they say in the ghetto, take the L. The game was bad and you know it. For God's sakes, you guys had the Fallout first. Another slap in the face. Locking stuff behind a paywall for a game that it wasn't even any good. Notice how I tried not to talk about Bethesda.
Not really.
Yeah. What has been the internal / audience, the hardcore, what you're seeing numbers-wise reaction for Fallout First? Because I feel like that was in the same vein, right?
Yeah.
Where you guys announced Fallout First, and everybody wants to shit on. And it's like, I remember being like, this seems, I don't play Fallout currently, so I don't know how much a private server is needed or what this, you know what I mean, or whatever.
Right.
It's always, what's something worth? It's what you're willing to pay. And what is the Fallout 76 audience willing to pay? I don't know.
Well, let's be clear. I mean, like anything, it was created for folks for some...
Fuck off with this Fallout First. It was created for folks that you knew would pay you. That's what it was. Cut it out. You were like, we still got them hooked on. We're going to... I can't remember where I read this, but some game developer said even if 90% of the people don't buy into microtransactions, the 10% of people that do overwhelmingly exceed the amount of money they lost with that 90% of people who said to hell with the microtransactions. And that's exactly what you guys did. You sat there, you knew you had your hardcore Kool-Aid drinking people who were sitting there like, if I drink the poison tonight with Master, we will all die and get on the spaceship behind the asteroid. That was actually a real thing that happened. Google it. Like, literally, that's what it was. And the private servers, it's worth what people are willing to... Look at Greg Miller. Brown-nosing. What a journalist. Dude, the private servers weren't even private. People were going into their private servers and finding areas already looted. People were joining their world from their friends list. How is that a private server? Like, they couldn't even get this right. And Greg Miller, how is this an interview? It's literally a fluff piece. You sit here, listen to Pete say whatever, go, oh yeah, and then you slightly bring up something, and then you take his word, you don't say anything, even if you know it's wrong. Once again, Horizon Zero Dawn, developed over years. Over years. They didn't just take an existing engine and plop stuff down, or maybe they did because they had their own engine, I can't remember. But point being, they put time, energy, and effort into this. Fallout 76 looked like a goddamn asset flip, and we know it. Was it the end boss of the game, a giant bat? that literally use the same animations as the dragon from Skyrim? Like, come now. And they want you to pay for it. That's why everybody shit on it. Imagine you buy a car and it's got all these problems. You take it back to the dealership. And then the guy at the dealership goes, we know these issues exist. We're trying to fix it. It's kind of under warranty, but it's kind of not. But we're going to see what we can do. You bring it back, it's still messed up. Now he does the same thing again, but this time he goes, well, if you want your car to be a little bit of a better experience, you can pay us extra to add these features. You pay them for these extra features, and then you find out someone else is driving your car. It's part of the features. Like, I thought this was a privately owned car. It is, but when you sleep, we rent it out to someone else.
And so forth, notwithstanding. But, like, I guess what doesn't really resonate with me much is like, well, how come you want X? Like, it's $100, and like I could get, Hulu only cost me this. Like, well, but I'm not asking you whether or not you want to subscribe to Hulu or you want to do this. I'm asking people who are playing a lot of Fallout 76 whether this is of value or not. And by the way, the $100, the reason they would want to do that is they say, I play so much Fallout 76. Yes, I would like to save 40 or 50 bucks over what I would spend across the course of a year, because instead of paying whatever it is a month, I'm in for $100 and I'm saving money. I want to do that.
Yeah.
Like that. I mean, why does anybody buy a car that's more expensive than the least expensive car?
Pete Hines really used a car analogy for Fallout 76. There's a big, Fallout 76 is like someone's used piece of shit Prius. And Pete Hines is trying to sell it to you like it's a premium experience. It's the new Corvette. All premium. And it's not that. It's literally somebody's Prius with like a body mod that looked like a Corvette.
You guys ran headlong into a thing I had seen with season passes.
Yeah.
Where it had been that I remember when the Batman Arkham Knight season pass got announced, and it was like some costumes, there's going to be a Batgirl story thing, and a bunch of other stuff we'll tell you about later. And I was like, you have my money, good sir. Mm-hmm. And people who didn't play Arkham Knight or had no intention of ever doing that were so mad at this ambiguous season pass. And it was that argument of like, well, I get that season passes, DLC, whatever. You're a commentator, you're doing stuff, you have an opinion, but if it's not your game, it's so hard to have that opinion.
Yeah.
Greg Miller then tries to use people didn't play the Arkham Knight and got mad at the season pass. Greg, I have Arkham Knight in the season pass, and I could say that it was sketchy as dude, how is this guy like taken seriously as a journalist? Oh, I know, because he basically sits there and kisses ass. That's pretty much what gaming has turned into. Gaming journalism is they defend to the hilt the gaming industry when it suits them. And then if a game comes out with big anime boobs, it's sexist and racist. I can't, man. I cannot believe I'm watching this shit.
Right, where I'm so stoked for Division launching on the 3rd, right? Of like, cool, and it's going to have a battle pass. Here's my money. I want to play the Division every night and pay you to get different things out of it. Whereas other people, I'm sure, like, no way would I ever pay for it.
Come on, Greg Miller. The Division was ass. I have the Division. I got the Division free with something I bought, like Logitech keyboard or something. I played it for like a few weeks, and it wore thin so fast. Then the Division 2 was literally more of the same.
I mean, we struggled a lot with it anyway, in terms of my team and like, how is this going to come across?
And you must have known not well.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, like, it's what we said, right? Like, Fallout 76 is like such a, okay, like, what are you going to do? How are you going to, who's going to make fun of it? What's
I know I'm speaking to the right audience when I use this analogy, but
you guys put out something you knew would not come across well on a game that was already lambasted and made a complete pariah of the gaming industry. And you're just like, let's double down. It's like a blue check mark on Twitter having a really retarded take and then going, I stand by what I said. It's like Carlos Maza, dude.
You are, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I was talking about. Is like, you're a straight shooter. You're always coming on the show and you curse and you hang out and you're great. You curse on stage at press conferences. And it's that idea that I can only imagine what it was like to see all this stuff and like, Bethesda lied to us and they didn't care. And this was just, and you have to sit there and take it.
That gets to me the most.
Yeah.
Is the like, you lied to us. Like, it just bothers me because that's not, I guess, the main thing that I sort of beat the drum on in terms of how we're going to do things. But at the end of the day, it's also semantics. Like, if I told you something because, like, if if I said, hey, Greg, I'm taking the Kind of Funny crew to Chuck E. Cheese on Saturday. It's going to be awesome. And you're all excited about going to Chuck E. Cheese. And then Friday I come down with the flu. Like, sorry, bud, we're not going. You know, I have boys. They're significantly older now. But when they were little kids, they'd be like, you lied. You said we were going to Chuck E. Cheese. Like, no, bud, I didn't lie. Like, I planned on taking you. Stuff
Situation has changed.
Right? At the end of the day, he's still mad. Whether I lied or he's just not going, he's mad. You know, if I tell you, hey, here's what I know that the plan.
What a shitty analogy. Pete Hines, Chuck E. Cheese. Nobody remembers Chuck E. Cheese. This is how Pete Hines should have phrased that. You guys did lie. Let's face it. There's a difference between, oh, we're going to go to Chuck E. Cheese. I got sick. We can go on a later date. You can always go to Chuck E. Cheese later. You guys told us we were going to Chuck E. Cheese or Disney World as children. And then we go and you drove us to the motherfucking Piggly Wiggly, Pete. And you're like, well, this isn't Disney. It's the Piggly Wiggly. And you're like, no, this is Disney. Did I say Disney? I meant you were going to meet Disney at the Piggly Wiggly. I just forgot to mention the Piggly Wiggly part. Well, okay, we got a Chuck E. Cheese. So this is technically Chuck E. Cheese. There's cheese somewhere in the Piggly Wiggly. This is absolutely atrocious. You guys did lie. Remember, Fallout 3 has 200 endings.
Been finalized when you again it was I think the number tossed around was somewhere around a dozen last year when you were first starting to talk about it. So how's that coming along, that part of the project?
Being that we are Bethesda, everything gets a bit big. So as of last week, we're over 200 endings. That is not an exaggeration, but it does deserve some description.
Okay.
I'm done with this. I don't give a crap to sift through any more of this. I'm done. No wonder Kind of Funny has 200 some K subscribers and barely reach 20K views in any given video if they do stuff like this. The comment section is loaded with people who are not pleased. Loaded. The dislike ratio is 2007 to 614. I had nothing for this. Absolutely nothing.